Hi everybody, it's Janina Kirk again from Slow Body. Today we're going to take you through another quick routine. It's going to be straight up posture work. This one's a great one to do after a workout. I'll often do this after a workout that has more conditioning, body weight conditioning, great after a CrossFit workout or any kind of like boot camp class. You can also use it as a warm-up if you do a little bit of warm-up before. You kind of want to be warm for this one. So I'm going to come behind the camera. Kirk's setting up the space. And then we'll get to it. So Kirk's going to be starting in a standing forward fold. So generally I like to cool down just a little bit. And then open up the back of the legs, release the neck, relax the shoulders. This is a great one for after running, especially if you tend to run from your shoulders, which I see a lot of people doing, and hold a lot of tension up in the neck and shoulders. This will kind of tune you into that space. And you're looking to bring your breathing so that you can hear it in the forward fold. Easier to hear the breathing. This will start to calm down the nervous system, let the head hang, and then just nice and easy step it back to downward facing dog. So the palms will flatten out and the feet will walk back. And then Kirk's continuing to breathe. You can see that he's swaying his hips and just letting everything loosen up. Checking that, relaxing the shoulders. You might see him press with his hands, and as he breathes in, reaching the hips back and up. And then as he exhales, relaxing the shoulders, hanging the head. There's another spot if you feel tight in the shoulders or in the traps and the neck that you can let it go. And he's just going to take that a couple more times. So on the inhale, press away from what's in front of you with the hands, keeping the knees soft. So if you feel a lot of tension in the hamstrings or around the rear end or low back, bend your knees a little bit more. Yeah, Kirk's demonstrating that right now, and raise the tailbone up. And then as those muscles start to loosen up, you can begin to sink the heels back and down. He's simply going to begin to take his right leg and reach it back and up. Raising up, and just remembering that as you reach the leg back and up, it's just not the limb sticking up there, but an extension of what you're already doing. So pressing from the fingertips and reaching up through the toes. Again, on those exhales, relaxing the shoulders. And then on the following inhale, he's going to raise up to the ball of the left foot and sweep the right foot forward to the hands. Just want to keep that right foot on the right side of the body underneath its own hip. Exactly. He's going to take a couple rocks forward and rocking backward. Again, continuing to breathe. And then on the next inhale, he'll reach the arms out to the sides and start to raise himself up. So coming into a crescent lunge. And then the arms will begin to float overhead. I like to do this especially after a workout that is even a core workout or a workout that taxes the legs a lot. He's going to begin to raise up in the inhale and exhale down. This opens up the hip flexors and the psoas muscle all the way up to the upper fibers by reaching through the fingertips. And then taking one more breath on the exhale, drawing the belly button towards the spine, reaching up through the fingers and maybe even reaching the chest up, reaching the thumbs back and taking it to a little more of an arch. Before exhaling and leaning forwards, he's going to place the left hand on the floor. The right arm is going to sweep by its own hip. And it's just going to keep on circling all the way down, forwards, and up again right into a revolving lunge. And we're looking at Kirk from the back here, and we can see that he needs to raise his left hip up. Yeah, so he just squared up. So that's one thing you can think about, is keeping the hips really square. A cue would be that if you feel all your weight dumping into your left arm here, that you've dumped that left hip towards the floor. So really feeling, Kirk's demonstrating that right now, but really feeling both feet firmly planted into the floor, drawing the belly in, especially on those exhales where you would rotate. And then the following exhale, reaching the right arm over the ear, hand will come to the ground, hanging the head. And then watching, looking at the back foot, softening that back knee, and just beginning to extend your front leg. So you can leave the back, let's leave the back knee bent to start with here. So Kirk's bending that left knee, and he can even let it bend a little bit more till it's almost hanging, hovering over the floor, and then attempting to straighten the right leg. So his hips are going to begin to reach back. He's walking his fingertips out, so you're going to feel a good stretch through the back of the right leg. And then begin to extend the back leg and pivot the left heel to the right, so it's going to bring you into a pyramid position. Reaching the fingertips forward, and you can continue to wiggle the hips a little bit left and right, breathing. Each one of these positions will be between 5 to 8 breaths, 10 breaths if you're holding them a little bit on the longer side. And then right from here, he'll plant the left hand, either right next to the foot. A lot of times, I'm a little more open in the hamstrings, but I like to walk that left hand forwards until the thumb is in front of the big toe. And then inhale the right arm straight out in front. Keep reaching the right hip back. As you take the exhale, look under the right arm and begin to raise the right arm up 90 degrees. And that's where the left hip's going to want to fall. So you want to concentrate on really rooting through that back foot on the inhales. And then on the exhales, drawing the abdominals in and rotating the ribs around. Like I said, staying here for another 2 to 3 breaths. Kind of working that rotation a little bit deeper with each exhale. If you feel a lot of tension in the shoulder or the neck, you can always run the chin down the collarbone and look at the bottom arm. And then it'll begin to reach the right arm out to the right and lower that hand down to the left. Bend the front knee, spin the back heel, move towards a lunge, and then step back to downward facing dog. Now if you're in a place, if you're outdoor and you don't want to put your hands on the pavement, you can always do a forward fold instead of a downward facing dog position here. You could also put your hands up on like a picnic table or a bench, and that would be the downward part of the downward dog, and then just reach the hips back and up, working the hamstrings there and getting a little opening in the shoulders. Next inhale, raise the right leg back and up. And on the exhale, again, relaxing the shoulders, letting that hip open, really pressing with the fingers and reaching through those toes, and it'll be the following exhale where he slips that left foot forwards to the hands coming into the lunge on the second side. Taking a moment to rock the hips forward and back. You may here reach the back knee back and down for a breath or two. Maybe it doesn't touch the floor all the way, depending upon what kind of surface you're on. Again, this can be done in sneakers too. And just get a little more opening across the front of that right hip. Then bringing the hips up about to the height of the front knee, and then inhale, arms reach out to the sides and raise up overhead. Coming into that full crescent lunge. Either holding the crescent lunge for 3 to 5 breaths. If you feel like you need to move a little bit, you raise the hips up on the inhale, and exhale, lowering the hips down. Main thing you don't want to do here is just let that tailbone as the hips sink, and next time Kirks go down, he's going to really buckle that back leg and let the tailbone fly up. So kind of crunching up there, but really keep the pubic bone lifted towards the belly and reach long through the back leg. And then holding at the bottom here, Kirk, keep raising your chest up and reaching the arms up and back. So taking that into this crescent shape, which is where the position gets its name. At the next exhale, lean forwards. Place the right hand on the floor. The left arm is going to keep sweeping back by its own hip, down by the hip, then forwards. And as you sweep it through again, you're going to begin to open belly, ribs, and chest. And that's where you'll want to notice, did I dump my weight into the right hand, or do I still feel weight even between both feet? Pressing down through the feet on the inhales is really going to help keep those hips nice and square. And then work through your middle, and that'll give you nice rotation in the spine. So I know a lot of times boot camp workouts, CrossFit workouts, a lot of the HIIT training, the high intensity interval training is very much on the sagittal plane, or moving in one plane. And there isn't a whole lot of rotation, which would be the transverse plane. This is going to give you nice rotation for the spine, start to peel everything open there, and it will work the core muscles as well. Take the following exhale to release, left hand out to the left or over the ear and lower it all the way down. Back knee bends as the front leg begins to extend. So just starting to peel the hamstring open. Again, the hips can keep wiggling. Ideally, your back didn't round up like a VW bug. Kirk, will you show that? Yeah. Yep. So you might feel that as the front leg extends and the hamstring gets stretched, we want to round. It's all right to soften the knee, front knee, and reach your chest forward. You'll still feel the hamstring. Then you begin to extend the back leg and pivot the right heel to the left. So coming into more of a traditional pyramid position. Again, the hips can continue to move. And this is where you would place the right hand next to its own foot, or Kirk's going to walk the right hand out a little further. I just like to go for the length here on this one. So you go for as far as you can, walking that hand out in front, or you're able to, and then inhale, left arm reaches out. You exhale and look under that arm and open the belly, ribs, and chest and raise the left arm up about 90 degrees. Again, similar to rotation to the revolving lunge, that back hip's probably going to want to fall. And then you'll notice if you lose the outer edge of that back foot on the floor, then you'll know that that back foot came off the ground. So breathing here, a good thing to remember or thing to tune into is rooting the feet on the inhales and then drawing the belly in and going for that rotation on the exhale. You may unwind a little on the inhale and then exhale, re-rotating. You take another breath or two. Kirk's going to take one more breath, and on the following exhale, he'll reach the left arm out to the left, bringing his chest towards his thigh. Hang the head again, check into those shoulders, maybe wiggle the neck. Bend the front knee, spin the back heel to the ceiling, which is going to bring you into a lunge. And then this time, walk the hands forward, and it's going to step you into a standing forward fold. So where you began today. Softening the knees and hanging the head. And just giving yourself a breath or two there. Nice easy breaths. You may want to raise up to the fingertips, wiggle the chest forwards, wiggling the ribs out. He's wiggling the hips, and then exhale, hanging all that length. And then beginning to roll up. Tailbone towards the pubic bone towards the belly. Stacking the spine, coming up towards the top. And the following inhale, Kirk's arms will reach out to the sides and overhead. Kirk, can you turn and face the camera for this? We're going to do a nice, easy standing half moon. He's going to interlace his thumbs. And then as he takes his exhale, draw the shoulders down his back. And then following inhale, reach up and over to the right. And as exhale, shoulders draw down. Now, Kirk is moving to his right, so you're going to be going the opposite way of him. Really grounding down through the left foot, reaching up from the hip bone and above out to the fingertips. And the following exhale, bring you back to center. Just switch the clasp of the thumbs, so the opposite hand's in front, and then same thing the other direction. Nice inhale. Kind of, you can see how he's wiggling his ribs up, attempting to get nice and long in the waist. He draws his shoulders down, then he takes the next inhale to go up that left side, up the right side, over to the left. So it's going to be the right side that's getting that nice long stretch. You might even feel it all the way down through the belly or across that hip. And then the next exhale is going to bring him back to center. Arms float out to the sides. And then he's going to interlace his fingers behind his back. So Kirk, will you turn around and show that? Interlacing the thumbs, rolling the shoulders forwards, up and back. And just take that with about 3 breaths, taking those nice shoulder rolls. Watching that you're not protruding the chin forward. So if Kirk turns sideways, will you show that when the shoulders roll back? The head pushes forwards or up. Right. So way to correct that is just bring your chin towards your throat. Yeah, and as if you had a ponytail at the back of your head, that was being drawn up. And then he's going to pause here. Here you'll feel the back muscles contracting, drawing towards one another. And then breathing wide across the front of the chest and shoulders. And on the exhale, drawing your triceps, squeezing your triceps a little towards one another. Feeling the muscles from underneath the armpits wrapping around towards the back. The space between the shoulder blades engaging. And you could take it one step further and just start to raise the breastbone up a little bit. Kirk's going to reach his fist towards the floor. And he's very open across the front of the chest. So he may have a little bit more mobility across that area. Don't get discouraged if it doesn't look quite like that. And then on the next exhale, coming back to center. Basically, you want to tune into what your body feels like. Going for that stretch, but not to the point where you feel like anything's going to rip or pulling too hard or that you lose your breath. And releasing the hands and just rolling the shoulders a couple more times, letting the arms jiggle out. And then on the following exhale, Bringing the weight over 2 feet and then shifting the weight to the right foot and bringing the left heel towards its own side of the rear. So he's going to come onto one leg. He's going to reach back and grab onto the left ankle. So this is a quad release. If you need to hold on to something, and I encourage you to work the balance here, but if you do, you can always put your hand on a bench or a tree or a pole or whatever you have around, a chair if you're indoors, or a stool. And here, as you can see, he's got a nice long line from the front of his hip down through his thigh. Kirk, why don't you tuck your shirt in just a little bit? And then go for the knee coming in front of the hip, the knee coming in front of the other knee, so left knee kicking forward and the butt kicking back. So, right, so you can see right at the front of his hips there's a little pike there. That often happens in this position. Bring the pubic bone towards the belly. He's going to do that right now. And then he's going to work to reach that knee towards the floor. Your knee might not point all the way to the floor, and you might feel your quads screaming. If you feel pulling at the top of the knee, try moving the knee out to the left a little wider and letting the knee move forward slightly until you can get this stretch in the belly of the quad rather than pulling in the front of the knee. And you might have to play around with that, so try not to get discouraged there, but play with the position and move around until you get this stretch into the belly of the thigh, not pulling in the front of that knee, and the heel is right in line with its own butt bone, or even erring towards the tailbone rather than the heel veering out away from the hip towards the outside line of the body, torquing the knee. He'll take his following exhale, release that foot, let it step down. He's going to turn to face the other direction so we can do the other side, and then he'll do the same thing, standing onto the left foot, bringing the right heel in towards the rear. See how he bends his left knee so he can draw that pubic bone up and gain access to get the pelvis so that it's neutral and not sticking the butt back, sitting into the low back. And then he keeps lifting the belly and starting to reach the knee towards the floor. I didn't say this on the other side, but you can add that left hand reaching forwards or raising that arm up towards the ceiling so you can sense that whole left side nice and long. Or the last piece you could go for on this one is reaching that left arm around so that it also meets the foot and holding onto the foot with both hands. So pubic bone drawing towards the belly. And if he was feeling really good, he could kick the foot into the hand, reaching his hips forward. Again, that's not going to be for everybody. If you feel that tailbone go up and any pressure in your low back, my suggestion is to back off. Bring the knee back towards it. The most important thing here is you're opening the quad from all the contraction that you maybe were just doing in your run, your walk, daily activities. So just peeling the muscles open and then taking the next exhale, releasing that foot to the floor. And then once more, softening the knees, so float the arms out to the sides and overhead. This time clasping the hands into a fist, and Kirk, can you turn towards the camera? Take a nice inhale, reach it up and over to the right. And exhaling back to center. Once more, reaching up and over to the left. And exhaling back to center. Arms sweep out to the sides. Arms come next to the hips. The knees are soft. The shoulders are relaxed. And that's it. You can go on with the rest of your day. In tuned, a little more open, balancing all that contraction with a nice peeling open and that stretching. Have a good one.